obviously a great win for our guys. We're coming off a loss, and it was imperative that we had two spirited practices and some good film sessions, and obviously preparation for what we knew would be a tough basketball game. Obviously Richmond lost their best overall player several games ago, and that could be a really difficult thing. So all of a sudden transition a team at the beginning of conference play. I think he played one game, Delaney did, and then all of a sudden you get used to playing certain lineups. You're starting to play better because they have a collection of new players, and they were beginning to play well, and then all of a sudden you have to redo it again and reshuffle the deck again, and that's not an easy thing. And they've been playing well. That was the first game that they haven't played as well as they've played, in conference play so far. They've been in every game and had chances to win. Our guys were enthused, were ready to play today. I think they understood that they didn't perform together as well as we're capable of in the last game, and that takes nothing away from St. Louis. Obviously, they played great, but I think our guys were ready to respond, in a big way. And when you play these games, obviously we're close, of close proximity to one another. When you play these games, there's a risk. Sometimes you can be too ready to play, and the anxiety can set in, and some of the nerves and all of that, because you want to do really well, but. We talked to our guys before over the last couple of days and said it's not about that. It's about making sure that we're on edge and ready to play and ready to do things the right way. And I think our guys, for the most part, did that throughout the game. Your defense can help your offense. So I think that's one of the things that we hammered home to them after the last game was we didn't shoot it well, but the defense was not, where it needed to be, and your defense can help your offense when it's struggling. And certainly tonight we kind of had both, going, which was a positive thing.
Coach, you had 12 guys with points. More than half of the 90 points came from threes. What can you say about the distribution of offense?
Yeah, I mean, we passed the ball. That was one of the things that we talked about, was just you got to pass the ball to your teammates. And we had 9 assists in the last game, and those were hard. They weren't easy. And we were getting into the lane, and basically 70% of the time, whoever drove it was shooting it. And that's not a good way to play. And so the guys understand that. And I think what you saw was we still need to get in there, but we've got to make sure that we're passing. And if you have it, you take it. Obviously, there's some times. Fatz's was a good example of it. He got down the lane and laid it up, right? Those type of opportunities we don't want to pass up. But when you see bodies and when bodies come at you, you've got to be a player and make the right play and stop and kick it back out and move it and get out and try to find another opening. And I think our guys did a much better job at that in this particular game.
Coach, you want to see composure when things aren't going so well, but how nice is to see it when everything's going right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought our guys did a nice job throughout the game. Everybody that subbed in there, I told the team afterwards, anybody that went into the game, played in a very disciplined and focused way and energetic way, right? Giving multiple efforts, throughout. And, sometimes obviously we had a big lead at half, and so sometimes it didn't start out great. It was 10 points, right away they scored. And, we scored a few too, but it's you don't want to play the that game back and forth. I score, you score. You want to make sure that you're trying to really compete on every play.
Coach, they take a 3-2 lead really early on there, and then I think 10-0 run. What were the keys during that sequence to creating separation early on for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Max made some shots. Joe made some plays. There early in the game. I can't remember exactly each one. But. The defense was a factor. The pressure, once we did score, we were up there, and were able to deflect a couple, got a couple of steals. Jack ran through that one. And, I think that helped us, kind of, really get going and feel good, because there was a quick timeout. And, the timeout was energetic and the talk was good in there. The guys, let's keep going, let's keep playing. And, I think for the rest of the half, I think you saw our guys, playing, pretty good basketball on both sides.
Coach, could you kind of speak to how Shobin had 14 points in the first half, and going into the second half, he still kind of just looked for smart shots and not just kind of just chucking up shots, but staying disciplined and looking for teammates?
Yeah, I mean, that's his game. Sometimes he can be unselfish to a fault, right? And, we need him to shoot the basketball. He's such a good shooter. He's our leading three-point shooter, right? And we need to try to get him more opportunities. He's just so good and so confident in his driving ability that sometimes he'll have some games where he just gets solely focused on that. And, we've got him. I'm glad that he kind of, snapped out of that a little bit, in this particular game, because he does have a beautiful shot, and we need him to let it go more.
With Phil coming out of Charleston, obviously it was about limiting the fouls so that he could be effective for you guys. Are we kind of nearing that point again where you got to make sure to get that message across, the discipline being important?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been pretty good. I mean, he's had some games where he's fouled. Obviously, we had several guys foul out, in the St. Louis game, and that goes back to just overall discipline. With our guys, we were a little bit too handsy and not ready. And when you're not ready, you're going to foul, because guys are coming at you. And so you have to be on edge and focused and moving your body and getting in position, in the proper position, so you can, play that play in a good way. But, Phil understands what he needs to do. And, we're pretty deep into the season at this point. He knows how he's helping us win. He shoots the ball, he handles the ball, he defends, and he's a pest on the other end. And, he's an important, player for us. He's energetic and confident, and he competes.
I know it's Coaches versus Cancer Day. Can you tell us about your shoes that you had?
Yeah, so these shoes were a Christmas gift from my two boys, Owen and Connor. They love shoes, and certainly we all love shoes, but they like them more than I do. But it was a Christmas gift, and so we saved them for Coaches versus Cancer. So everybody in this world, has been impacted, by that and by that dreaded disease. And certainly this is our week for the coaches, to wear what they call suits and sneakers. And so you can see I didn't make my entire staff wear them. I ended up doing it for everybody. So I guess that's fair, But I think the biggest thing there is to know that, we appreciate all that the research that's going on, all the dollars that are being raised, and just folks that are actually going through it. Obviously the hospital here at VCU and beyond. We've got a great cancer center here, and we're connected with the Children's Hospital and that arm of it, and we just want to do our part to recognize them and all their hard work and the dollars that are being raised. Jimmy V, to see where that is now from where it started, back when he was going through that time. I watch that thing every year. I think all coaches do, that 30 for 30 or whatever it is, the Jimmy V Classic, and you see him give that speech, and it's just really impactful and makes you understand, we have to appreciate life and what we have. It's not guaranteed. And, I think certainly we showed a video this morning. I have a young man who was Owen's teammate at Utah, at his high school in Utah, Green Canyon. His name's Wesley Murdoch. And he used to spend the night at our house all the time. And we left and came here, and he got sick. And they didn't know what the heck was wrong. And they started doing testing and all this, and it turns out he ended up, he's got leukemia. And so he was in and out of the hospital for the last year and a half. And he scored a basket. He finally came back, last night and made a 3-point basket. And I showed the guys the 3-point basket that he made, before we started our film session. And they were probably like, what is this inconsequential 3-point shot right here of this high school kid? And they didn't even know where he was playing, right? They couldn't tell because it was a high school. And so then I explained to them who the kid was and what had happened. You could see, we've all seen these types of situations where not only his teammates, not only the fans, all right, they were at home, all right, but the opposing fans and the opposing team were all smiling when the kid made the shot. And it warms your heart to see that type of stuff because it's life's not guaranteed.
The last one?
Congratulations on the win, Coach. I know you alluded earlier as far as the defense helping the offense. You were able to get 25 points off of the turnovers, and then also you held Richmond at 19% shooting in the first half. Just talk about your team's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it was very good. I was impressed with our guys' instincts and certainly focus on that side of the ball. They're really tough to guard because they cut and they move and they can pass, really well. I was worried going into this game because they're really good at two things that we need to be good at, right? And that's offensive rebounding and forcing the action on defense. They take care of the ball. And I believe they have a really good shooting team. It hasn't, shown that, so far this season. We're a little bit like them in that regard. And from a three-point perspective, we both, like the threes and like the layups. We get them differently in different ways, but I definitely was worried about that. I was also worried about the fouls. They shoot 80%, from the free throw line. I was worried about us, clumsily fouling them and giving them easy baskets. That's happened in some games for us. And so I think for the most part, our guys, did an admirable job.
All right, guys. We will have Coach Mooney in here in a minute.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.